Cyberpunk 2077 has a phenomenal arsenal of melee weapons and guns that V can use to wreak havoc in Night City. In this video, we're going to explore the 10 best weapons that you need to get your hands on in Cyberpunk 2077, specifically as of the 2.0 update and Phantom Liberty expansion, though some weapons on this list were available before that. I'll be focusing on a variety of different melee weapons, tech weapons, shotguns, and more, so there should be something on this list that supports your preferred build or playstyle. Number 1. The Atom Smasher Smart Shotgun. This is still the best weapon in Cyberpunk 2077, and even calling it a shotgun doesn't accurately describe it, because the thing shoots explosive homing rounds that can target up to 6 enemies. The only real downside of this gun is that you have to complete the main story in order to unlock it, which means you won't have a lot of time to actually enjoy using it. Basically how it works is after defeating Atom Smasher, you can loot an access token that will remain in your inventory after the credits roll. This will allow you to unlock Atom Smasher's personal armory on the Ebonica ship in Northside, which is the boat where you track Grayson with Rogue and Johnny during the Chipping In quest. Inside Smasher's room, you can loot the crafting spec for the Chong shotgun, then simply craft the weapon and start wreaking havoc in Night City. This video is sponsored by Dungeon Hunter 6, the latest installment in the renowned MMORPG series. The gameplay is full of fast-paced, hack-and-slash combat featuring a wide variety of class builds such as Barbarian, Boon Sister, and Assassin. You can play Dungeon Hunter 6 for free right now on Android and iOS, and by clicking on my link in the description or scanning the QR code, you will get a special starter pack worth $50. Many RPGs feature epic boss battles, but what if you could turn those bosses into allies that serve you on the battlefield? In Dungeon Hunter 6, whenever you defeat a boss, you can unlock the ability to summon them as mounts or even combat minions. And you can bring out up to 3 boss summons at a time to follow you anywhere and perform their unique skills in battle. There are over 100 uniquely designed bosses in the game, with new additions coming monthly. I haven't seen a feature like this in other RPGs, and I'm excited to try it out for myself next time I play. Dungeon Hunter 6 has also upped the ante in graphical performance for mobile gaming, with clear and beautiful skill animations that make combat easy on the eyes without turning your screen into a visual mess where you can't tell what's happening on the battlefield. When I played the game for the first time last month, I was impressed with the level of build variety. My personal favorites were the Whirlwind Barbarian, Assassin, and Mage. But if you're the type who likes to test a lot of builds, fear not, because you can respec at any time to test out different skills and perfect your favorite combat style. Dungeon Hunter 6 is also an MMO at heart, and you can play with your friends and guildmates in real-time guild wars, or trade gear with other players at the auction house. And the best part of all, Dungeon Hunter 6 is completely free, so what are you waiting for? Download it right now using my link in the description or scanning the QR code, and get a free starter pack worth $50. And starting on October 15th, you can participate in the Lucky Spin launch event to win great prizes like a PS5, Apple Watch, and more. See the description for more details, and big shout out to Goat Games for sponsoring this video. Number 2. Comrade's Hammer. This modified version of the Soviet Burya handgun pumps out ridiculous amounts of damage. The Comrade's Hammer sports a cylinder that has been modified to hold a single explosive round capable of wreaking utter destruction. It also automatically reloads when you perform a quick melee attack. You will have to reload after every shot with this gun, but you don't even need to be super accurate because the explosive rounds tear through even the most heavily armored enemies. Like many weapons on this list, this is a craftable gun, which you can obtain by completing the suspected organized crime activity in Arroyo. The crafting spec drops from a crime boss named Darius Miles. Number 3. Errata, the Thermal Katana. Added in the 2.0 update, this flashy katana is one of my absolute favorite melee weapons in Cyberpunk. And the good news is you can obtain it very early in Act 2 during the mission Disaster Piece, where Judy and V rescue Evelyn Parker from a scav haunt warehouse. The weapon is located in the basement of the warehouse inside the room with the giant furnace. The Errata has a chance to set enemies on fire, but it also grants you the ability to leap towards enemies to close the distance. And once you set enemies on fire, all your subsequent hits are critical hits while they stay burning. So you can just pump out insane damage with this thing. If you want to do a Katana build, I also recommend picking up the new Finisher and Bullet Reflect perks from the Reflexes skill tree. If you have any interest in melee combat in Cyberpunk at all, you absolutely cannot go wrong with the Thermal Katana. It's just so badass. Number 4, Order. This is Brick's customized version of the DB2 Satura shotgun, which you can buy from the black market weapons vendor in the Dogtown Stadium. You'll first encounter this guy very near the beginning of the Phantom Liberty DLC. If you like shotguns, this is well worth the price, but be prepared to spend over 6 figures for this bad boy. According to the weapon description, charging this weapon above 66% vaporizes any enemies in your path, leaving an EMP trail behind it, only for the brave of heart and steel of nerves. And let me tell ya, you can wreak untold havoc with this gun. It's just so overpowered, even if you haven't spec'd into shotgun or tech weapon perks. Number 5, Widowmaker. You will get this weapon during the main quest if you help Pan Am take out Nash at the end of Ghost Town. And just like Nash, this weapon is straight toxic. And I mean that literally. The Widowmaker shoots 2 bullets at a time that deal chemical damage and have a chance to apply poison to your enemies, with charge shots dealing more damage. The only real drawback to this gun is you'll be reloading constantly, since it can only hold 8 bullets, which is really only 4 shots per reload since it fires 2 rounds simultaneously. Oh, and you won't get that free Quartz Bandit car from Rogue, since you'll be pissed you indulged Pan Am's revenge fantasy. But hey, sometimes we gotta make sacrifices to stan our homegirl. Number 6, Ogou Smart Pistol. I was originally going to put the talking gun Skippy at this spot on the list, but for some reason I chose the non-lethal version of the gun that just shoots dudes in the kneecaps. And this really doesn't cut it in Phantom Liberty. But then I discovered that the Ogou pistol does basically the same thing as Skippy, except the bullets explode. It's a smart pistol, so it also has auto-targeting homing rounds, provided you have cyberware that supports smart weapons. With each pull of the trigger, the Ogou fires a burst of 2 explosive rounds. Hits have a higher chance of dismemberment, and each dismemberment increases crit chance and chance to apply bleeding, so you can just start pumping out insane damage and dots on all your enemies. I also love the reloading animation on this little beast. Such a cool weapon. You can obtain the Ogou during the Phantom Liberty DLC by completing a side gig called Treating Symptoms. The weapon is looted from one of the robots during the end fight of that quest. If you play it, you'll know the one. Number 7, Hawk Assault Rifle. This is Rosalind Meyer's gun, and she must not be too attached to it because she'll leave it behind in the Crest Street hideout, allowing V to loot it early in the DLC. This power assault rifle has a sleek NUSA paint job with a white finish, and it packs an absolute punch, not just in raw damage, but debuff abilities as well. With the Hawk AR, headshots temporarily weaken and mark enemies. In this weakened state, enemies move slower, cannot use abilities, deal less damage, and are more prone to losing their balance. So anytime you take out your foes with this badass weapon, be sure to give a nod and salute to the Madam President. Number 8, Malorian Arms. This list wouldn't feel complete without Johnny Silverhand's signature handgun. Our first taste of the weapon comes from Johnny's memories, but we can pick up the original from Grayson at the end of the Chippin' In quest. This is definitely not the strongest power pistol in the game, and it starts to fall off hard in the DLC when you run into many more armored enemies. The 25% armor penetration just can't hang with Barghest. But what it lacks in practicality, it more than makes up for in style points with its unique reloading animation, complete with a badass trigger twirl. You will do quite a lot of damage if you're good at scoring headshots, and the Malorian is just so satisfying to use on gunslinger builds. Number 9, Yinlong Smart SMG. Okay, so this one has been in the game since day one, and I slept on it for a long time. But recently, it's become one of my favorite guns to use, owing to its unique EMP capabilities. The Yinlong is a craftable smart SMG with auto-targeting. It deals electrical damage with a small chance to apply an EMP on impact. And let me tell ya, it's so incredibly fun to watch sparks literally fly while using this gun. You can pick up the Yinlong crafting spec by completing suspected organized crime activity, living the big life in Haywood. It drops from the animal boss named Denzel Cryer. Number 10. Sasquatch's Hammer. Last but not least, we have the most beastly melee weapon in the game. You can loot this gigantic hammer after defeating that huge bitch from the Animals gang during the Voodoo Boys main quest in the GIM. But if you missed it, you can still purchase the weapon from the Black Market Stadium vendor in Dogtown during Phantom Liberty. This thing just deals insane damage, especially if you have the Quake ability. The only real drawback is that it's categorized as a very heavy weapon, which means you cannot sprint, dodge, or dash while wielding it. So in some cases, you might be better off using a regular hammer. I also got a kick out of the item description for this thing. If you're considering using Sasquatch's Hammer, be ready for blood, sweat, and tears. You provide the sweat, your enemies the blood and tears. This monster drains a lot of stamina, but deals massive damage. So there you have it. The 10 best weapons you need to get in Cyberpunk 2077. There are definitely some phenomenal weapons that didn't make the list, so let me know in the comments below what you like to fight with while roaming around Night City. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to Big Dan Gaming for more Cyberpunk and RPG videos. I also recently made a Twitter account, so if you're on there, follow me at Big Dan here. And as always, big shout out to all the channel members for supporting my content. Until next time, this has been Big Dan. I should go.